when you have the same old people creating events or sitting on your board for long periods of time, how do you attract younger donors if you're doing events for 80-year-olds or 70-year-olds? And if you do something amazing and have it special where they can invite their friends, those people who come, the people who invited them, the younger people on the committee, are proud. They're not embarrassed by the old people.
So the presentation, you spoke in San Diego about mixing generational giving, can you double click on that for us, for the audience? Yeah.
So that is basically, it's called Facing the Generational Cliff,
Okay.
how to become relevant with the new generations. And part of that is when you have the same old people creating events or sitting on your board for long periods of time, that event becomes baked into that age bracket. And how do you attract younger donors if you're doing events for 80-year-olds or 70-year-olds? And how do you integrate them onto committees? Because the 80-year-olds are very threatened and the 70-year-olds are threatened by a 30-year-old with new ideas. And they both have rightful complaints about other generations. They don't communicate the same and they don't. So and there are ways to do it, but you can't just put them together.
Yeah.
I talk about how to create new events for new generations and then use that as training wheels to get them to bigger things.
So, okay. Yeah. Let's talk. So let's get into that a little deeper if you don't mind. Like, so you separate the events. Now we're having multiple events, but you're catering to the younger crowd and making it like what, a little more lively. Like, what are some bullet points
it's even more genuine than that. Strategic and genuine.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So let's take the gala. So we've been doing the gala forever, and now the same people who started at 30 years ago are now 80 years old, and their friends are too tired and old. That event will either die a slow death because of attrition by the elderly patrons, or a younger group will step in and revamp it to their vision. It can't happen at once. You can't just say, okay, and I've seen it, especially with symphonies and older healthcare foundations. They try and just, here we have new blood. The younger people will roll their eyes at the older people. The older people will harumph at the younger people, and the younger people don't want to come back. What you need to do is create an emerging leader group, some kind of a group that has that title or something like it.
Yeah.
And then you need to talk to them about what kind of an event they want to produce that their friends will go to. It's not about us saying, let's just revamp it for you. It's genuinely listening and incorporating what they want, letting them be the leads on it, though you are the adult in the room, meaning you have to put bumpers on the side. They can't just say, whoa, we're going to, have a foam party or whatever, some weird kinky thing, whatever. But so what you're doing is you're empowering them while they're working with you. They feel listened to. That gives them an affinity towards your organization. As they grow with their careers and their pocketbooks grow, you're now stewarding them to higher levels of participation monetarily. It's also training wheels for board positions. By the time that you've worked them a few years, you can see who would be a good fit. So that's the thought process.
I think that's amazing. Well, I think what I pull from that, there's so much gold there, is you're actually, instead of telling them, this is how we're going to do it, you go, what would you like to see? Are you finding, I don't have a preconceived notion or opinion about it, or even like a theory about it, but what are you finding when you present this to these organizations and this younger generation? Are you finding the events are a little bit more, are smaller, more casual, toned down? Like, and once again, I'm just throwing it out there. Or are they big, events where there's 500 people? Kind of give me and the audience some feedback on what you're seeing with this process.
To start, when they first happen, they're usually mid-level entry points, meaning about $50 to $100 to go in. It's usually something that's social. They're not talked at a lot, like a beer tasting, wine tasting, jazz night, comedy show type thing. And then you can get like 100 people or so if it's done well, like with any gala, with like anything. If you want to sell tickets next year, have a good event this year. If you want to really have trouble selling tickets, screw up your event.
Yeah.
They're very true, right? So these are smaller, these are more social events, and then the people start building community. Fundraising has always come from the place of we want your money. My company looks at this from the hospitality. How do we look at when a guest first steps out of their car or even gets an invitation? How does this make them feel special? How does this make them feel like they're a part of something bigger and better than themselves?
Yeah.
How does it make them want to stay involved with an organization? That is the entire beginning portion of planning.
I love that. I love that. I Have you read Unreasonable Hospitality? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I had a
It's
feeling
here
that you might
it's
yeah.
in I have
Yeah.
3 of them. I
Yeah.
hand them out.
So
I teach it. Unreasonable Hospitality is my Bible.
yeah.
Absolute Bible. Changed my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I think Will Guidara, very interesting speaker as well. And what I've been thinking about this, the H in HGA fundraising means hospitality, and we're in
Does
the
it?
hospitality. Yeah, and we're in the hospitality business. I think as fundraisers, I don't think I know. I don't get on a soapbox and talk about it enough, but I absolutely think because I wanted to ask you about how you are coaching and encouraging organizations to engage with these folks that are building this community post event, and we can get to that. But I think that I think if we frame this as we are in the hospitality business, and of course that leads to fundraising over time, no question, we have to get dollars in the door, or we'll go out of business. We won't keep the lights on, won't make payroll, all those things, right? We won't serve the mission and the people that rely on it. But I had framed hospitality in two ways, two definitions. One being thoughtfulness personified. Thank you when no one's expecting it. For instance,
Yes.
post event, and like, hey, I can't thank you enough for coming. We'd love to have you again. Things of that nature.
Right.
And then, yeah, simply the other definition being, how did you make the other person feel? And if you made them feel welcome and part of the community, then of course, most people and human nature dictates that they'll want to come back. So I love that you subscribe to the same idea of
Oh,
hospitality and fundraising. Yeah,
absolutely. So I always use the analogy of, say you're going out to an expensive dinner.
yeah,
And you pull up at the valet and you're sitting there for 15 minutes before they take your car. And then you get out of your car and you wait. And at the maitre d' station, you wait another 15 minutes because it's just totally disorganized. Then somebody finally just says, go to your table. And you just go to your table. You sit down and either you're waiting for a long time for anybody to even serve you, or somebody comes up to your table, leans over and starts talking in your face like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, and doesn't leave you alone for another 2 hours. That's basically the experience that people have with galas. That is the model that people use for galas is wait, wait, wait. We're going to talk at you and talk at you and talk at you until you give us money to go away. And then you get in your car, but you have to wait. It's basically being a mariachi band, how
yeah,
everyone has to pay them to go away. That's how
yeah.
I sometimes feel like these events. Crafting your events, not only your stage program, but minute by minute their experience. My team greets guests at valet. We have a valet sponsor. We greet guests at valet. We have I'm not going to tell you my proprietary stuff, but we have a system that when they get out of the cars, we find out their name. And by the time they get to registration, their name is already pulled up at registration.
Wow.
So there lots of times we'll have, if it's students or, people who are part of the mission, we'll have them escort the guests to registration and say, here's Mr. So-and-so, introduce them. And then it becomes a process of, this is white glove service. Like
Yeah.
if you're in a nice restaurant, they never let you go. If you say, where's the bathroom? They'll walk you to the bathroom. If you ever pay attention to it, they'll never just say it's around the corner. They will say, this way, and let me take you there.
Yep.
Those are the little hospitality things that's the difference between what I do at events and just talking at you. It's we make
Totally.
you feel like it's a white glove experience.
Are there other examples that you could give that are not proprietary that maybe even that aren't even
Oh, it's not,
yours?
it's not for, I'll tell you how we
Yeah.
do it. We have
Yeah.
earpieces and we talk
That
to each other and
no,
stuff.
I kind of figured as much. Yeah, but for instance, like maybe even something where an organization taught you because or showed you the way they do it, and you went, oh my gosh, that was uncanny, or like an experience that you've had in memory where you saw some amazing examples of hospitality that
I'll
could give
tell you
folks some good
things
food for
I
thought.
do that I
Yeah.
don't know. I think maybe my mother when I was growing up taught me or something. But
Mhm.
so we have a lot of really old donors for one of my favorite events. And the hotel has the longest walk from the valet to the registration. And last year, the big donors couldn't make it past registration to go to the cocktail area. They
Okay.
couldn't. So I picked up cocktail tables and chairs and we put them right next to them and we served them drinks and appetizers.
Yeah.
So that's one way, is that you should pay attention to somebody who needs anything. I've seen people in wheelchairs that I've actually pushed and helped to go to the restroom. But here's what happened, taking it one step further. When we did a debrief on that great event, that people were too old to walk down this hallway,
Yeah.
we thought about it. I went to the venue, and lo and behold, behind the ballroom area, there's a huge lawn and another valet station right there. We turned the event backwards. So we sent everybody to the back. We had signage and people pointing them to make sure they didn't go. They went in. It was a beautiful new entrance, and it was just maybe 10 yards to get from their car to there. We had special reserved tables for them because we knew they'd want to sit down.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thought process that generation truly appreciated. We had people come who said they weren't going to come and walk the hallway anymore, and they still came. And
Yeah.
it was
What are some tidbits or things you've seen from a hospitality standpoint that would appeal to younger generations that the audience could take away?
First of all, having younger people on your committee is super important if you can integrate them the right way. Part of what we do is we have a lot of daughters and daughter-in-laws of older donors that have stepped in because we've cultivated them. It doesn't happen in one day, but you cultivate them. We let them own the after party. So I'm typically not a fan for older generations of an after party, which is what I call an afterglow. Um, because typically, if you do an amazing job at your event, people want to stay and chat afterwards. They don't want music blasting in their ears.
Mhm.
And you know it's a great event when the lights go up and we're clearing the tables, but the people won't move. They're still standing there.
Yeah.
So what we've started doing is the afterglow. So where we do cocktails beforehand, usually right outside the ballroom, we transform that into cocktail tables and a dessert buffet so that people don't just leave and stand in line at the valet. To ease up the line at the valet, we serve desserts buffet style afterwards and have seating so people can stay and chat, and then they're not barraged by loud music, because older generations, even my generation, kind of like, I just want to talk. I don't need to be entertained.
Yeah.
However, we give the younger generations and the younger committee members total control over an after party,
Yeah.
which is usually in a separate room right next to the ballroom. We don't do it in the ballroom because I don't want to distract. Um, if you can make an amazing, like have a great DJ or a great band, do something amazing and have it special where they can invite their friends to come either for free or a reduced amount, that's their party. So they sit
Yeah.
through the gala, but their friends get to come. Good start, because if you do an amazing job at the after party, like really do make it special, espresso ice luge or something fun, special like light painting booth or something. Those people who come, the people who invited them, the younger people on the committee, are proud. They're not embarrassed by the old people, but they are proud. Everybody has fun. And then next year, all their friends want to come because they heard how fun it was. So what you're doing is you charge a nominal donation to go in, but it's worth it because you're starting that stewardship cycle with the younger generation.
I was going to say, it also, it gives you, if you can create an event where folks don't want to leave, A, that's massive. B, when you were talking about afterglow and all these things and no music and just people talking, I was thinking, what a lovely opportunity for the board and committee and folks that are involved to say thank you and get to know the people that, right? I mean, it's just like,
It is
sorry, like to
the
have an agenda,
best.
but such a,
No, no. That what do you
yeah,
mean agenda? You don't think that's written down? I
yeah,
have it
it's
in
a
my
big thing.
timeline, and we
Yes.
assign board members to go up and to get to know certain people during that period of time. assigning. So this is another thing. My board members are told in advance they are not to be drinking with their golf buddies at the bar during cocktail hour. They are goodwill ambassadors. Their job is we've assigned them people to thank and greet as they come, to walk them and introduce them to somebody else. This stuff doesn't happen by accident, but the incredible community building effect that has is mammoth.
No question. And people are always, and I know you've heard this so many times ad nauseum, being in the space as long as you have, oh, my board won't do this. My board can't do that. They won't help me with this. And I understand that. And we hear that a lot. And I don't think those are complaints. That's real. Those are real observations and real hardships that leadership and development people and event people are facing. However, one great way around that, or one great way to forge what you're looking to get out of your board and committee and whatnot, is to tell them exactly what you want them to do. Like, give them a road, right? Like, give them a roadmap and be like, this is your gig. I don't want you to not have a good time, but this is what we expect and this is what we need you to do. And reiterating that early and often through communication. Yeah.
And one step further is I hear they won't help us with sponsorships. They won't help us to, find sponsors. That's because they're tired of asking. They've been asking forever. They're not trained in asking. And they probably, a lot of times, they're kind of embarrassed of your event. They don't have confidence that it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But what you do is you get your board together and do a brainstorming session, and you lead it. I mean, if anybody wants it, I have a brainstorming sheet that I use, that I give to my clients. Can I give my email? It's aj@queenbeefundraising.com. But so I'll just send it. But what we do is we get the board together and we say, you're not going to have to ask for any money this year. And they're all like, that's great. You say, what we need is a warm handshake. We need an introduction. Let's all write down who our attorneys are. Let's all write down who our CPAs are. Let's say who we pay insurance to. Who's bought or sold a property in the past couple of years? You go down that list with them. They write it down, and then you take the papers and you say, I'm going to be calling you or emailing you, and I want you to give me a warm handshake. Then you have to tell them what to say. You have to say, go to this person and say, listen, you've been my insurance agent for 10 years. You know that I'm on the board of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is near and dear to my heart. You're going to be getting a phone call from AJ Steinberg, who has a great opportunity. I would love it if you would take her call. That's all they have to do to those people, and walk away and let the professionals who are good at asking do it. Now, if I know that I'm going to be leading by saying, hey, this is AJ Steinberg. Joe Smith told you I'd be calling from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You always lead with that reference so they don't hang up on you or they read the rest of your email. And you say, he just raves about you and he really is one of our most active board members. I was looking at what you do, and I think this would be a perfect sponsorship level, and it would be wonderful to have your presence at our event.
I love it. Giving them exactly word for word what to say.
And telling them it's easy. They want to know they won't have to work too hard.
Here's the roadmap. Yeah. No, we ad nauseum, we hear that. And I think a massive piece that would just give folks the encouragement and the know-how to engage their board would be, don't fire them all yet.
Be a better leader. Be a better leader. It's not their fault.
It takes courage. It takes courage and know-how to be a great leader, but giving folks exactly what they need and then getting out of the way, I think is kind of perfect. I wanted to take a left turn because I was as I mentioned before we got going, I was bummed that I didn't get to see all the presentations at Raise. We were just at the same conference together earlier in the month. You were talking about, and this is something that we've spoken about quite a bit, about disaster proofing your event.
Yeah.
And you can get as long-winded as you want. And like for a long time, we were talking coming out of COVID, having a lot of pre-committed dollars, sponsorships, underwriting, different commitments and matching opportunities and things of that nature. So when you walk in the door, you've got 50, 70% of your money of your goal already in the bag, so to speak. So if there was a natural disaster or the stock market crashed or this, that, or the other thing, right? Yeah. So I see you taking a big inhale. Talk about disaster proofing your event in your words for the audience, if you don't mind, because I'm pretty enthralled with this topic.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's a topic that was forefront in our thoughts in January in California because
Okay.
we lost entire communities over here. But
Yes.
it's more than just the money portion, it's how you
Yeah.
handle it, because every event is a stewardship opportunity. But this is seriously this was a whole hour. But and a natural disaster affects people. It doesn't just affect your event. So there has to be a level of awareness and empathy as to what's going on with your staff,
Yeah.
with your donors, and with your guests. So if there's a natural disaster that you have enough time to really gauge. So let's say you were having a May event and January, the fires happen and your organization is based in let's just say Pacific Palisades.
Yeah.
First thing is you need to there's no disaster proofing, but is your office still there? Think about this. Do you still have your IT and your infrastructure for your computers? Your databases, is that even there? If your office is there, do you have access to it? Do you have power? If it's still there and you go in, how's your staff doing? Are they okay? Because you
Yeah.
have to remember they've lost probably a certain portion of their houses. I was a member of a guild, and 80 something percent of the people in this guild of 50 had lost their homes in the Palisade fires. So we got the next thing is you have to decide, are we having this event or are we not having this event? Is it postponed? Do we
Yeah.
have it? Do we not have it? And I talk about, when I do a much longer thing about the chain of command, is you need to make decisions that are informed within your actual staffing, meaning your team, before you take it to the board. Come up with plan A and B, but you should know what is the best plan of action, because your board, you don't have the luxury of just sitting and letting your board chew it out. Then you bring it to the board and you work on it. You have to remember about communications, about the sensitivity of, our hearts go out to, and with a pandemic, it's a different kind of a thing. You are closed. So we talk about, well, any event that you're working on, I have 100% of the costs covered in sponsorships before we open the door. So that is a rule of thumb that we're always aiming for. My sponsorships get more than that, but just more than we need to consider that. Is this
Yeah.
making sense to you? It's so
1
much
million, 1 million% it
money.
does. That's our language. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
we look at this, and one story that I do tell is that you don't know where generosity is going to show up when it's tough. On November 7th in 2018, here in Thousand Oaks, California, there was something that was a shooting in
Yeah. I
a
remember that.
country night. That was the shooting in the borderline, and 7 people were killed, young people were killed. And I had an event in 2 weeks that was right almost next door for a symphony. So we had to meet to talk about changing our theme, which was all about children, to about community and healing. But what we couldn't have seen was that afternoon on the 8th, a fire broke out over by Woolsey.
Hmm.
And by the next morning, it had gone all the way over to Malibu and destroyed thousands of homes, including mine. So now you have a situation where you have the event planner doesn't have a home, doesn't have anything, no clothes, your whole community. But as an event, and this is it, nobody on my committee knew I had lost my house. There's just the director, because that is not my job, is to put on an event, not to wallow in what's happening. And so you really have to juggle now your personal life with the life of your community. I was more worried about the empathy from the community and making sure that we were giving them the healing, and how we transformed that event to be all about community heals and music heals, because it was a symphony. They
Yeah.
raised more money than they had at previous years,
Yeah.
because there was that generosity that was
Yeah.
there.
Well, that's a lot. I'm sorry about
No,
that. I'm
it's
sorry
okay.
about your
We're
home.
okay.
Yeah.
That was 2
Yeah.
fires ago.
Oh my word. Yeah. Well, I told you we're in Reading, so we've had
Oh,
our
you've had
fair
the
share of
worst. You
fire.
know what it
Yeah.
means. And so it's
Yeah.
not just the people who lose houses, it's the
Yeah.
whole community feels loss. So you
Yeah.
can't just say, well, nobody lost a house in Reading, so we're just going to go and have this hoedown.
Yeah.
You have to say, is this appropriate 2 weeks after our neighbors are all
Yeah.
suffering? And There's a lot of things that go into it, but it's that hospitality. It's a guest first. How is this
Yeah.
going to resonate with them?
I say that a lot about fundraising. I say fundraising is an and equation, not an or equation. Because
Oh,
some people were like, I don't want to do a silent auction anymore. Well, I mean, you could make a lot of money with a silent auction. I'm not asking you to agree with that. If you are anti silent auction, but I'm just using that as an example. And also I also say a lot. I notice a lot with fundraising. It's not about us. I know that sounds kind of cliche, right? Like, but it's just the more that we can make it, because you even said like you didn't make it about you and you had just lost your home and everything. Because it's not that it's bigger than your home. That's a massive loss. Life is a massive loss, and there are no more comfortable issues.
no.
But I think that when we can, bring people together, obviously we're very pro event. I know you're very pro event. And if we can turn the light around to where it's not about us, I think that we can get a lot out of these efforts, right? I guess I hope that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well
yeah,
said. It's
yeah.
really, it's guest centric. Just like we have donor
Yes,
centric language, we have guest centric language. This is all about celebrating them and their achievements
yeah.
in getting you to where you are.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I'm backtracking a little bit. Your board resource will absolutely put in the show notes if you don't mind.
Sure.
You said folks can email you. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I want to
I
put that
have
in the
something
show
called,
notes.
I have a
Yeah,
board sponsorship toolkit, which just
perfect.
gives them the language. It gives you the brainstorming sheet. It gives you all sorts of things. So I'm
I
happy to
love
give
it. I think it's fantastic. And we'll put it in the show notes. AJ, do us a favor, do the audience a favor so they can show you some support and reach out if they have any questions. What is the easiest way for folks to find the Queen Bee fundraising and to find you? Is it LinkedIn, emailing, website, all the above? Put your business out in the street, as I like to say, if you
Oh,
don't
I
mind.
love it. Thanks, Trevor. Well,
Yeah.
you can always get a hold of me at aj@queenbeefundraising.com. That's me. I answer every email, or just go check me out at queenbeefundraising.com. But
All right.
I appreciate it.
Far out. Well, thank you so much. Hey, one quick thing, if you don't mind, I've formulated this, and you can use it anytime you like. This question I like to ask guests. I ask about 90% of guests this question. Answer it however you like. There are no right or wrong answers. However, you're very good at fundraising, specifically at event fundraising, in so many ways. It starts with an accepted premise that fundraising is hard. It's supposed to be. Anything worthwhile typically is hard if you want to, swing for the fences and go to the moon, so to speak. So my question to you being, fundraising is hard. Don't make it more difficult by doing what?
God, that is it's an awkward sentence. Fundraising is hard. Don't make it harder by coming from a place of scarcity.
Embellish.
Don't nickel and dime your events. If you're going to have an event, spend the money where you should spend it, not where you shouldn't spend it. But understand that it's our job to raise sponsorships to pay for this wonderful experience. Don't give people a subpar experience because you're afraid of the nickels and dimes. Go ahead, sponsor every bloody thing you can as a part of your sponsor, as part of your event sponsorship packages, so you can give people that amazing hospitality experience.
I love it. I love it. Great answer. Great answer to an awkward question.
No, that's thank you, Trevor. I just want to know who are the 10% you don't ask. That's what I want to know.
Oh well, no. As you notice, I didn't send you over a whole litany of questions. So
No, you didn't.
sometimes I just forget.
I was saying, was I supposed to have a whole bunch of things to talk about? Sorry. Well, it
No,
worked out fine. There's plenty to talk about in
it's
this.
very organic in nature, but I think that's where we get the best gold for the audience. I know we got a lot out of this episode, and the audience is going to get a ton of value out of it. So I appreciate you so much for even taking the time. I appreciate the work that you're doing. It's really great to meet you. So
And
thank
it's
you.
great. Thank you, Trevor. I mean, you're out there really, you're the face of what we do. So thank you for that. I appreciate it so much.
Well, if you would have told me 10 years ago I'd be the face of what we're doing, I'd say far out. How'd I get there? But I appreciate you very much. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. We're enjoying the work, and the team will love hearing that. So I appreciate you. Yeah,
Thank you, Tony.
it's not just me. So thank you so much, AJ. I appreciate your time. And like I
Thank
said,
you.
we put your business out in the street, folks. Show AJ some love, and hit her with a bunch of questions and any kind of insight or whatever you under the sun, event fundraising, board sponsorships, hospitality, the whole nine. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you, AJ, for your time, and we'll see you all again soon.
I think the reason that we don't focus on the things that matter boils down to one word, and that is fear. Most nonprofit leaders don't come from wealth. Most nonprofit leaders live and serve in the communities that they work in. They feel inferior to people who have money.